आज की इस वीडियो में हमने जो पढ़ना है वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है वो, और इसके बारे में हमने पढ़ना है, ठीक है। वो है बायोडाइवर्सिटी पैटर्न, ठीक है। इसमें आएगा व्हाट डज बायोडाइवर्सिटी पैटर्न मीन, क्या होता है, ठीक है। इसके बारे में हमने आज पढ़ना है। उसके बाद में ये पैटर्न है बायोडाइवर्सिटी पैटर्न हो गया। उसके बाद व्हाट डज बायोडाइवर्सिटी, इसमें आएगा Although biodiversity encompasses many different things, the reality is that species diversity continues to receive the most attention from conservation biology and practitioner. When people talk about variation in biodiversity, they are frequently referring to variation in species richness. In part, this is because it is relatively easy to quantify species level diversity compared to other form of biological diversities. Estimates current about 1.2 to 1.5 million species have been described, but we know that there are also a lot of species that have not yet been described. Estimate of the number of undescribed species vary considerable. But there is a general agreement that we have been described only a minority of all the species. Most estimate of the global species richness puts the numbers somewhere between about 5 to 10 millions. इसके बाद होता है कि higher estimate ranging up to 30 million species or more to exist, but are increasingly seen as unlikely. As our understanding of very small organisms improve, however, we find that the true number is larger than we currently think. One recent attempt to answer this question predicted that there is a total of 8.7 million species, about 2.2 million of which are in the ocean. This study by Mora et al. 2011 suggests that 86% of all the species and less than greater than 90% of the marine species are yet to be discovered. उसके बाद आ जाता है undescribed species. Perhaps surprisingly, newly described species include some large organisms from well-known groups. For example, several new birds are described annually, most from the tropics but occasionally from well-studied areas. उसके बाद अगर things that we have known about for some times but have not previously been classified as distinct species. But new species of river dolphin was recently described from the Amazon. But other are completely new discoveries. For example, Sola discovered in the Vietnam in 1990 and considered to be in a totally new genus. The vast majority of the species that remain to be described, however, are in invertebrates, and estimating how many of these remain is difficult. The main problem is that to make an estimate of number of undescribed species, several other numbers have to be estimated first. These numbers are then combined, which in inevitably result in compound error. The limited taxonomic work and the base in the way that taxonomy studies contribute to the problems. For example, nematodes did not get studied in. ये था इसका स्मॉल सा इंट्रोडक्शन, सो उसको हम आगे देखते हैं। इसकी इम्पोर्टेंस में आ जाएगा कि problems describing the patterns. Because most species have not been described, it is hard to be certain how species richness varies spatially. Consequently, we have to assume the pattern seems in well-known groups of species are representative of all species. This is probably a reasonable approximation, but it might not be in every case. Species richness patterns correct with many things. ठीक है, इसमें आ जाएगा richness decrease with increasing the elevation. Similarly, in inclinations and lags, richness decrease with increasing the depth. Richness decrease with increasing the latitude and tend to peak near the equator. सो ये था आज का टॉपिक जो कि हमने आज पढ़ा है, बायोडाइवर्सिटी पैटर्न्स थे। और नेक्स्ट वीडियो के हमारे इंशाल्लाह देखते हैं।